Well, good evening, everybody. Wouldn't normally do this, but I haven't had dinner yet, and I am hungry. Pretzels. They kind of stink. Good evening to whoever popped in. Kind of a short notice. I forgot to put the notification out that I was going to be live tonight, but hopefully the ones that visit on a normal basis will remember that I usually live on Saturday nights. If not for anything, just to Gab. It's all for you guys. Anyway. Well, I found out tonight that I'd forgot that I bought some encoding software, which, from what I understand, you can use it with a live stream, and you can actually share screens, which would be pretty cool for you guys because you could see what I'm seeing, and I could show you some things. Pretty neat stuff. Been doing a lot of research this week. Project for Scarlett, and was trying to figure out how I was going to get the speedometer to work. Using a 4L60E, because that's what I'm building for it. And they, in the early 90s, when they started converting to electronic speedometers on the B-body. What's up, Steven? On the B-bodies, they had a cable-driven, they used the cable speedometer for the, I think it was for the radar detector, but anyway, it had a speedometer sensor and a cable-driven sleeve all together in one deal. And I was found this company called Stealth Conversions, and the company's out there in California, somewhere around you, Stephen. I don't know where, but exactly. But I talked to him Friday, and he said that wouldn't work because it only does like a 4-pulse signal. And after talking to him a while, I remember on the early ones, they had to have what they call a DRAC module on the back of the speedometer. And what that did is that converted, it converted the 4-pulse signal to a signal that the speedometer could use and the ECM could use. So with my plans, it wouldn't work. And what I'm trying to do is figure out if there's another way, because obviously if I'm doing a 4L60E, I'm not going to use the factory ECM in the car, but I haven't decided which way I'm going to go. Well, I take that back. I think I have, but there's multiple ways you can go about this. And there's a company out there called Spear Tech, and they make custom harnesses for like an LS3 and so on and so forth. But, I was wanting to convert the old Gen 1 small block to have a, 58X cam and 4X or 58X crank sensor and a 4X cam. But then I'm thinking, oh yeah, I use shift kits all the time. A little different. I don't use as many springs on them and stuff like that, but here I go with the stuff like that. I use the Sonic stuff on a lot because they're really good put together kits, and they improve on what's already there. Another one that does a good job of that is Superior Transmission Parts, and they're part of Fairbanks. They make really good kits. But anyway, I was talking about SpearTech, and they make like E38 modules to control if you wanted to do a 6-speed, or you could do, I think they do a harness for an 8-speed, which I think would be really cool. Put an 8-speed, an 8L90 in a 3rd gen. I just think that'd be neat as hell. But if you find one, they want pretty good money for them because that transmission doesn't fail very often. I've even thought about playing around with the 4-cam 3.6 liter, putting a couple of twin turbos on it, which they've done, but just not in a Camaro. And the bottom ends of those engines are built just like the LS. They're hell for stout. And they've got factory steel cranks in them. So they got a good platform, and of course with the 4-cam heads, the heads will flow a lot of air. I just think that'd be pretty cool, but I haven't decided yet. That'd be a good one to do, like get a 89 GTA and make it a tribute. Yet, Steven, that is a pretzel that I'm eating. Haven't had dinner yet. So this is something munching I wanted to get on here for you guys. Like I said, it was short notice on everything, so I don't know that there'll be that many people in here. But anyway, the SpearTech stuff, man, it's high dollar. I think I looked at one, it was harness and everything. I think it was like $1,700. And I was like, wow. Just playing around with some ideas. See, you can get me to talk about this stuff on a live stream because I haven't put it out in a video form yet. So you guys are getting firsthand knowledge of what kind of the plans are. I think I'm kind of leaning towards doing a Holly. I talked to them yesterday too. I waited on hold for an hour. They were like freaking buried. Yeah, I don't either, Steven, but we may get it whether or not we want it or not. You know what I'm saying? But I think I'm kind of leaning towards doing a Holly. And I talked to the guy out there. It's a really cool dude. I think, what was his name? Really nice guy. That's Greg. No, Greg was the guy that I talked to at Stealth Conversions. I don't know. His name was like Dennis or something. I don't remember what exactly it was, but super nice guy. And he kind of steered me away from doing the other one. And it makes sense because, right now I'm just trying to get Scarlett back on the road. Get something, a decently, because I know that power plant in the donor is probably wore out, and just get a good bottom end together and, save up my pennies to maybe get a set of cylinder heads, good cylinder heads, and, a little bit better intake. I'm going to keep the tune port. May end up doing a first TPI. Not sure yet. I may have to stick with just the regular TPI to start with, so I can save my bucks. But it takes everybody's support. So, hey, buddy, how are you? Your old boy Smitty's been sick. I got sick starting Sunday last week. Took me out Monday, so I was home Monday. Just rested and stuff like that, and I felt halfway human to go back to work on Tuesday. And it was just one of them nasty colds that I got. Feeling pretty good today. It was in my chest Thursday, and last night was pretty good. And then this morning I've been kind of going almost nonstop. Got up this morning early and went and got my mop cut, so it looks a little better. A little cooler too. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. It took like 4 or 5 people out there at work. I think one of the kids started with it, and then I was just kind of going around the shop. It's just that time of year, between allergies and everything else. The pollen down here in Florida this year has been holy cow. And it was really nice today. It was in the low 80s down here today. But I went and got my hair cut this morning, and I had to go down to Ocala and pick up some hay for our horses. And still kind of tired from being sick and everything. So I come home and ate some lunch and passed out for about a half hour. Then turn your cars yellow. Yeah, that's no lie. That is no lie. Everything, and we got dark colors too. So it just makes it look yellow. And then since I've been sick and not doing much out there in the shop this week, I've been trying to get L to the W's transmission finished up. Just about there. I need to get it back to him so we can get it in the car. And I'll probably do a video on that too. I've got some videos recorded for what I've been doing, but I haven't had time to edit it either. Obviously, like I said, since I've been sick. So I've probably got 3 videos now that I need to get edited. That's why that 4L80 one snuck in there on Wednesday, because I had that one already loaded up and ready to go. So but yeah, everything's good. Hey, I've been hearing that a lot of people have been getting unsubscribed somehow. So make sure you're subscribed, obviously. And then make sure your notification on your little bell there, click on that and make sure it says all notifications. If you get the personalized ones, they don't always pop up when I post something. So if you do that, that'd be great. And make sure they do. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, and I don't know if it'll do it on here or not, but it's at iRock. I couldn't use the same one as my YouTube because it was already taken. But that's my it's all together, but that's what my Instagram is. And I post some stuff on there and post some stuff from when I'm working. And on my 4L60E, no, not yet, because I'm finishing L to the W's up. So, when somebody else comes needing help, then my stuff gets pushed back. That's just the way it works. But I've got all the parts to put it together, I think. But yeah, I'm anxious to get started on that, get that one built. I'm just anxious to get started on Scarlet, period. Like I said, I got to get some title work done on it. Stephen, the bad thing is I don't get on Facebook, on my Facebook page for the channel near as much as I probably should. And you're right, Deer Slayer, that's the way it works. I started that page when I thought I would get too much. I'm not a social butterfly, so I'm not glued to my phone all the time. But I do enjoy doing the YouTube thing, the teaching. And I get on Instagram quite a bit, which I guess it could be Facebook, but it's Instagram. And I just changed the settings so my Instagram stuff will show up on Facebook, but I think it shows up on my personal page instead of my iRock and Z page. I know why they put pretzels out when you go to the bar, because it dries your mouth out so bad you want to drink more. And I'm not a big beer drinker, and I don't go to bars much, but that makes sense. But anywho, yeah, peanuts do too. Funny thing, I was texting my wife, and this emoji come up with pictures of house and stuff like that. And I sent that in and says, "That's pretty cute." Says, "Yeah, it just popped up, so I used it." But anyway, yeah, like I said, I've been doing a little research. And that's probably going to show up backwards for you, but speedo gear charts and stuff like that. I got the stuff like that thing going on again. But I really don't need to worry about that much because I won't be able to use the factory speedometer if I do a Holly system, which blows, because I really like the stock dashes in them. But Holly's got a nice set of gauges, really nice set of gauges, and their CAN bus, which basically means they're networkable, and you get a dongle that plugs in between them. Makes wiring a whole lot simpler. Their big dashes, holy cow, they're expensive. Like that 12-inch dash they got, that thing is like $1,900. I'm like, damn, buy a lot of parts for that. But I guess if you want it bad enough, you'll get it. Oh, some of the gauges can. I think if doing the system that the way I want to do it, technically I could go without a speedo I got GPS on my phone, so if I get a speed and I can just relate it to tack, and I know how fast I'm going. And you know, the rest of the system would still work with a Holly. You could use your analog gauges for inputs and stuff like that. And I got that stuff like that thing going. I can't quit saying it. So I laughed. One of the guys I follow on Instagram was yeah, I've seen the Edelbrock ProFlow, but I've already got the tune port, and you know, you can pick up one of those Terminator X Maxes. Oh, I think the one I was looking at was like $1,300, something like that. Yeah, I haven't had a ticket since my last big one that I got. When I was young, and what was it? I was on my way to work. I think I was probably 23, maybe, somewhere in there. I had an 82 Trans Am with a T5 in it that I'd converted. It was a T10, Super T10 4-speed, which I wish to this day, I wish I never would have got rid of that transmission, because that thing was great, but it had a bearing fail in between the two main shafts. And of course it did some pretty nasty damage. But anyway, I got a ticket for doing 106 and a 55. And I ended up selling that Trans Am because it was red, of course. It was an 82 Trans Am that somebody put Formula hood, nose, and tailpiece on. So, in fact, it's that picture of that car is in the ending of my videos. If you ever look at the end, if you ever stay to the end of the video, it's in the outro video. And the first picture that's in there, you know, that setup, Deer Slayer, that setup was how they came up with the crossfire injection, where they put the two throttle bodies on it. The worst system they ever came up with. And the only reason why it was considered a worse system is because people had a lot of trouble tuning it, you know, balancing the throttle bodies so they were right. But I'm really getting excited to get this thing going. It does look cool, but it was troublesome. They had a lot of problems with that system. I was telling you about Instagram. If you get on there and look, I took pictures of. I've got an 8L45, which is basically an 8L90 baby version that they put in a Colorado 8-speed transmission. And it's the first one I ever seen that somebody first one I seen that actually had a homemade trans brake. Now, I don't know how this thing did it. Well, it wasn't homemade. I think what happened is the valve body failed, and anyway, it tried to apply the two clutches at the same time, and that didn't work out so good. It welded the four. I think that was a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reverse clutch, and it was pretty nasty. The poor truck only had 6,000 miles on it. I don't get it. Seems like ever since the COVID came in, the quality of the vehicles coming out is even worse. I probably shouldn't say that since I'm working for them, but oh, if y'all haven't heard, there's a deal going around about the RPM Act. SEMA's putting it out where the government's trying to infringe on the motorsports industry. That's a bad deal. I'm going to tell you right now. They're wanting to eliminate motorsports basically, and saying you can't take a car and modify it for race use at all. And it would basically take money out of so many people that supply the parts. You know, the aftermarket would get nailed hard. It's a bad deal. And then something else y'all ought to pay attention to is that HR 1 bill. That's a bad dude. I told you I don't want to talk politics, but y'all really need to pay attention to what's going on in the government. And I can tell you it ain't nothing good. So yeah, Stephen, I hear they got enough votes to impeach or get resignation for old Newsom out there. Well, yeah, woo, Jesse, I'm still I've still got some transmissions I got to get finished up for some folks before I can go back to working on my Camaros again. Like I said, the stuff that I gotta repair for these folks needs to get done before my stuff, unfortunately. So they're still here and they're still collecting dirt. In fact, I need to wash Scarlet and get the pollen off of it. And got some other stuff I got to get done. I got Mercury Sable out there. I named Charlie Brown. I got to get fuel pump in that and get it going because that's going to be Camaro money. So Jesse, I do have a 4L60E build for that car. And that's what Deerslayer was asking about too. Yeah, he needs to lose. You know, I guess we're kind of blessed because we got Ron DeSantis down here, and the state is thriving because of him. So, and good thing is there's quite a few states, including Texas, that have lifted the mask mandates. So that's something else that needs to go away. But anyway, yeah, I can tell you that. Well, yeah, Stephen, we did have to wear masks. In fact, it's still mandated in our county down here. Alachua County is like, I probably should have said that, but now at least you know what county I live in. But Alachua County is like odd. They they're kind of power hungry, kind of like our government is right now. So they're milking this mandate stuff as long as they can. But there's you wouldn't believe how many people are just they're fed up with it and they keep going along. Jesse, I'm finishing it up this weekend. You came in late, but I'd gotten sick this last week, so it killed me on a lot of stuff. I'm actually getting to the point where I'm feeling better, so I can get some more things done. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that valve came out there too. And like I said, I still haven't found the clip for it. No COVID. I wouldn't test anyway. I wouldn't give them the light of day to find out anyhow. I mean, you can beat it with, good nutrition and just taking care of yourself. I mean, that's all there is to it. The panic that was presented because all this it was a bad deal. I did get a few of my haircuts. I still got a few left up there, but I guess I'm kind of lucky. I don't have real thick hair. It's pretty thin, but it was getting long even for me. Oh, I've heard that a long time ago, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, to me, there's something fishy, and why are they pushing it so hard? I mean, to me, that just sends up a red flag. I've never seen anybody push this vaccine that hard. Even the flu vaccine, they didn't push that hard. So to me, something stinks, and it stinks bad. Doing your differential and your Silverado, huh, Jerry? Those are always fun. I actually like doing differential work. It's pretty cool. One of these days, I'll be doing a differential. Probably do the differential before I stick the rear end in Scarlet. Well, Deerslayer, I built that transmission, and I did do some modifications to the pump. Different pressure regulator, and different spring package. And so, yeah, it's been modified, but not extensive. I mean, it's basically a stock truck, but I know he knew he towed a lot with it. So, I did some few small upgrades to it. It's got some Sonics goodies in it. But yeah, I have no clue. I've never seen that happen in my life. So it is what it is, but I'm still going to make it right for the guy because that's only right. Oh no, it's got a stock computer in it, Deerslayer. I never heard of a clip error. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what happened there. I've never seen one of them blow out either, but I got plenty of extra parts, so. Well, good, Jerry. Yeah, Mom said it's warming up back up home too. She lives up in Missouri, east of you or west of you. But no, the tuning in the computer is all stock. So have a good night, Jerry. Thanks for stopping in. Anyway, what else have I got? Oh, man, I tell you, I went. I got my bill for. I got my bill for motorcycle insurance because I ride a motorcycle, and I about fell out of my chair when I got it. I was like, "Man, why is it so high?" And I was like, "I know I didn't pay that much the year previous," and so I called him and says, "Yep, since all the damage down south and stuff like that, they had to raise the rates and went up 26%. I said, "Yeah, that's a pretty steep hike there." So says, "Makes me not want to buy your insurance," and I didn't. So I had to find a new insurance company, but got that taken care of and out of the way. And I've heard metal prices are pretty bad right now too. I really want to get a cylinder of gas for my welder so I can start making some projects and stuff. I need to get my I've got an HVAC system to put out in my little shop out there, and I can tell it's going to be hot. I'm going to want it. So I've been putting that off as one of the projects to get done. Because my little shop is a concrete block building, and it's got a tin roof on it with no insulation. So that thing in the daytime, it's just like an easy bake oven. That thing will just flat cook you out of there. It gets so hot in there. When it starts getting warm, I've got a refrigerator out there, and I have to put my trans gel in the refrigerator to keep it from melting. It works pretty good though. But I need to build a stand to be able to set the furnace on. No, I do both manual and automatics. Just that you don't see many manuals anymore. I do have a T5 out there in my stash of stuff that one of these days I'm going to do. They call it a Tremec, but it's a Borg Warner. But Tremec took over, and they started building the transmissions. So when they started building and putting Tremec on it, they made them all the world class style, which means there's roller bearings underneath the gears. And I got this thing for like $60, and Jesse, I do just about anything mechanical. GM technician by trade, but I like doing heavy line stuff: engines, transmissions, differentials, transfer cases. Not this one. I've got two of them. And yeah, the old Muncies were great. But I've got two Camaros. And they're both 87s. And I may convert the other 87 to a manual. Not sure yet. The World Class is better than a T5. They've got less rolling friction, so to speak. Like I said, eventually I've got encoding software loaded on my computer. So one of these days I'm I'm gonna figure out how to get it to work with YouTube, and so I can do screen sharing at the same time, and then I can show you a lot of stuff. But yeah, the world classes are a lot better. Well, I don't know if I don't know. It'll handle the power better. Yes. Um, they weren't rated at a whole lot of power because the older cars didn't put out as much. But they knew that there would be a reason. That's why they didn't put them behind the 350. The 305 didn't make as much torque as the 350, and they figured most people could kill it pretty easy. That's kind of like I don't know if y'all remember like the early '90s, Cutlass Supreme. They had a twin cam, 3.4 liter, which was it was basically a 3.1 liter, the 60-degree V6, and it made it double overhead cam, and that was a running sucker. And they put a jet drag 5-speed behind it, and they had nothing but problems with them because people were just tearing them up. Deerslayer, I have heard about it, and most of the time they use those in like big motorhomes, or what am I thinking of? They call them a cabin chassis, but there's no a workhorse chassis. That's what I'm thinking of. The workhorse chassis, like if they did them in motorhomes and stuff like that, and there's that stuff like that again. They put them in there to hold the extra torque. You can buy those. Not many people want them because they are quite noisy. They also do that straight cut gear stuff for the Allison 1000. One of my contracts that I had, he had one in his was an 02 standard cab long bed, but it was a 4-wheel drive work truck, and the Allison had been repaired, and his first and second gear was way louder than mine, and that's because it had the straight cut gears in it. Jesse, on yours, I had a buddy he ran around with, had an 84 Z28 that he had a 383 stroker with a T5 behind it, and it never blew up. So I guess it's all in how you drive it. But I can't say that with him because he hammered on that thing. I mean, it was quite quick, and did many of burnouts and clutch drops, and it held together. Yeah, just like the old 2-speed power glides. You can still get the heavy Planet gears for those. I'm sure you can get them for the 80s too. Front planetary gear assembly, 91 to 98, straight cut. So there you go. They were in 91 to 98. Well, it's really not that bad. Global Transmission Parts has them. Used. And they're just, looks like they're just four pinion planets. But of course, you have to have the rest of it to go with it. Oh, they do have a rear pinion set too. $300 for a used one, and $200 for the rear set. So yeah, I mean, they're still available. No, Jerry, it wasn't modified. It was a bone stock unity found out of another car or stuff like that. Shoved it in there with a decent clutch, and that was it. Hey, Kenny, how are you this evening? Deer Slayer, I don't know if it's that much more pricey. Look at when you look at if you wanted to do that Sonic's front planetary set to give you the 284 first gear, that's $700. I mean, so in relation, it's probably not as bad, but I mean, it's going to be harder to find a straight cut set. I've got whatever's in my mug is frozen. But yeah, I called my supplier because I hadn't seen my parts for my 80 rebuild that I got to do. And I was like, hey, what happened to my parts? He goes, I don't know. I must have just fat fingered and didn't put it in there, but he was going to get it out to me. He's actually up in Chicago, my parts supplier, but he gets stuff from, there's a warehouse down here that he gets transmission parts, and then out of Kansas City. The name of the company that I get them from is called A&. Reds. I think it's just, you just have to Google it, A&. Reds, but they've got online catalogs, and they've got so many parts. They're a huge company. And of course they got high performance stuff. I've got quite a bit of stuff from them. There used to be a guy that worked in the Kansas City store down there he was great. His name was Bob. And I don't know what happened to him, but every March, I think it was either March or April, up in Kansas City, they'd have a show called the Vision Show. And it's for not employees, but companies that are in the industry. It's kind of like a baby SEMA show. I mean, real baby. But it's cool because they had training there and stuff like you could sign up for different classes and training and stuff that you wouldn't normally get. And of course, they'd have vendors in there, manufacturers of tools and equipment. AE Wave, which was a lot of your electronic stuff. Great place, but he was one of them that was up there, and he and I became real good friends. I don't know what happened between him and A&, but I called up there one day and he was just gone. Nobody could tell me where he went. So, '85 Z28 TPI restored going for these days. Well, that all depends on where it is in the market. Some markets will pull more than others, and it depends on the quality of the restoration too. And I mean, if they just did a repaint and this and that, what have you, then I don't know. It all depends on the extent of the restoration. I mean, if it's nut and bolt all the way down, they fully restored it and stuff like that, it could probably bring some pretty decent money. I'm no expert on it by any means, but maybe teens, maybe 20s, if that. I mean, it like I said, it all depends on how good the restoration is. Anyway, yeah, Stephen, they really wouldn't be that cheap out your way. California prices are kind of high, and plus California, you sell something it has to meet their emission standards. So that becomes a problem. Of course, you modify any of them anymore. That's the biggest thing you got to think about when you're doing something for a street car. Now, my street cars, they're going to be as close as I can get them to being, legal, so to speak. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I plan on eventually, when I get done with Scarlet, I will probably put converters on it. Make it legal somewhat. Something if somebody put a sniffer up the tailpipe that it's liable to pass. Hey, while I got you on the phone, and I just happened to notice, or on the phone, I had a subscriber calling out another subscriber that on spelling of what it is, on what the response or the comment was. I want you all to know something. I don't care if you misspell something. I don't care if you don't say it right. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not politically correct. I don't care. What I do care about is when it's pointed out and somebody starts criticizing somebody for some sort of misspelling or punctuation or something like that, or said it wrong. That I really don't like. I don't care for it. I wanted my page to be somewhere where somebody can just come, don't have to worry about nothing, enjoy it. Gab, it's how you meet people, how you make friends and stuff like that. But you don't make them by badgering them because they may have spelled something wrong or something like that. So what? I mean, the point's the same. Um, and supposedly this subscriber left because of it. You guys do what you need to do, but I everybody here should be treated the same. I mean, I'm the last person that I'm going to say that's gonna hold judgment against anybody. I can tell you that because uh, good friends are hard to come by, and when you start nagging at something that you shouldn't be, it's a real turnoff for me. I want you all to be able to come here and feel welcome and on my videos and stuff like that. There's that stuff like that again. Uh, it's solely for enjoyment, and I hope you all understand that that's what it's there for. And yes, the phones do have a mind of their own, and they auto finish your sentence, and that's not what you meant to say, and sometimes you're typing so fast, and if you got these sausage paws like I do, you punch more than one button at the same time, and it ends up, oh, that's not what I meant to say. Yeah, something like that. See, the thing is I knew what you meant, so that's what I'm getting at. The it doesn't have to be 100% correct 100% of the time. It doesn't matter. So, y'all, I just wanted you to know that. So, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The phones are good about that. Man, like I said, I ended up throwing some hay here earlier, getting it put in the barn and everything else, and man, I had hay stuck to me from head to toe. I was sweating so bad because these hay bales we got, holy crap, they were heavy. Well, they weren't really that heavy, but they're heavier than what we've been getting, and so a little more difficult to handle. So anyway, yeah, yeah, that was Rosario is his name. He's a chocolate colored. See, I can't even talk right either. So he's a chocolate covered Pasofino. That's a Spanish horse, and he's got a light blonde mane. Very boisterous, very ornery, uh, and he lets you know if he wants something. Yeah, yeah, autocorrect speech. I don't know. I don't know if there's much helping me. I think I'm beyond correction. But well, we hit the hour mark. Should we keep going? There's some more you guys want to talk about, or I mean, I don't care either way because I'm here for you guys. Just something different, you know? I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do on brakes on Scarlet. I've got a big toss up whether or not I want to actually go. This is going to sound strange to you, but actually go into manual brakes on it. I just think that manual brakes to me makes it more of a driver's car where you actually can feel it. And even with four-wheel disc brakes, with the right master cylinder, it'll be just like having power brakes. So the back brakes on the rear end that I got for Scarlet are actual Willwoods. And I thought about doing Willwoods on the front just so they match, rather than doing a conversion. I know the conversion would probably be cheaper by a long ways, you know, like the Brembos that everybody are doing. But, you know, at least the Willwoods would match. And I am going to keep this car, I am going to keep it red. I'm not going to change the color, obviously, since they named it Scarlet. But I'm not sure on what caliper color I want to go with. The Willwoods that are on the back of it now are black. I kind of like some contrast. I was thinking about doing bright yellow calipers. Probably send these in. They've never been in service. Thought about talking with Willwood and seeing if they'll exchange them to me or something like that, and for some yellow ones. And again, you know, get a front matching set. And not sure on what I want to do for wheels, because obviously when you increase the brake size on the front, you start getting limited on what'll fit underneath the factory wheels. And then of course I thought about doing the IROC lookalikes that Hawks has got. I'm not huge on chrome. I'm really not. Not on one of those cars. I mean, they look good on some applications, and they would probably last down here because there's no salt like we had up in Missouri. But I actually thought about taking one of them and painting the whole thing like a gunmetal color. I thought that would look pretty good. You know, because the aftermarket 17-inch ones that Hawks has got, the insets are black, which I don't think any of the factory IROC wheels were ever black in the center. I think they were, they called it either dark argent or silver. And I think the dark argent was closer to like gunmetal color. But I don't ever remember them being actually black from the factory. So, but then I could get some meat under it too, put some 275 40s on it, do a square all the way around. And yeah, 17s is what 17s or 18s. But I've seen some other wheels that on an IROC that are just fantastic. They look so good. But most of them aren't a square setup. If you get a square setup and you don't have directional tires, you can actually rotate the tires and put them in different locations on the car and get, tire wear. If any of you ever owned one of these cars, they're kind of hard on tires, especially if you got a lead foot. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's just a street car. Now, if something else may change down the road, but like I said, if you keep them square, then you can rotate them because, if in the factory, the rears were a different offset than the front and they were labeled that way. It's kind of funny though, on some of those Camaros though, they actually had a wheel spacer underneath the wheel, bolted in between it, which is kind of unusual. So it just kind of, the wheel was already offset and then they put a spacer behind it too. So just weird. Y'all are going to have to hold that thought because I got to get some more to drink. Y'all can just stare at my blank TV back there. Really? Yeah, the 89 that's out there. And I think it had to do with the fact the 89 had disc brakes on it. I think they only used it on disc brakes, but my buddy's IROC, his had spacers on the back of it too. And it was drum brakes, so I don't think that applies. But, well, we've had people in and out all night. We're at a steady 4, so I don't know who's on besides you, Steven. But anyway, I got some good companies of some names of some good companies. If you guys are wanting to do some wiring and stuff like that, there's that stuff like that again. And the one of them that I was checking out, you got to check out speartech.com if you're wanting to do aftermarket ECM and that kind of stuff for a project. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys watch Mike Finnegan. He's pretty dang funny. But like on his C10 build he was doing, he used a company called WireCare. Also, KSR Fabrication and Performance. Check out his website. He also uses wirecare.com. KSR Fabrication and Performance is right here out of Gainesville, Florida. And he builds some nasty hot rods. And if any of all follow old Cletus McFarland, he's building Mullet right now, which is pretty cool. That car is fantastic. It's top notch for sure. Some of the other stuff he used was Leash Electronics, which was their own circuit board setup. I thought was really cool. Yeah, I watched his last video that he had out, and I was nerding out because I really like electrical stuff and how everything works. And in fact, I got one of these videos. I'm going to set it up for you. I got a neat deal to set up, and you can use this on just about anything. But it's how you can wire a twin electric cooling fan setup that has low and high just by doing a couple of simple relays. It's pretty awesome. And the first time I seen this was used on a it was a 2008 Chevy Malibu. Not Malibu. Was it a Malibu? Malibu? Yeah, I think it was. But anyway, it's slicker than snot the way it's set up, and it all has to do with the theory of electronics and how they work. But I want to do that setup and do that for a video because that's the ideal way for me. That's the ideal way to set up electric fans, because otherwise, I mean, you don't always need them on high all the time. And if you got a car that's got air on it, most of the time you can run them around on low. And it's really simple the way this thing is set up. It basically uses two 4-pole relays and one 5-pole relay. And it's just a matter of how it's wired, and it'll give you 2 speeds because the way it's set up. So I'm gonna do that on the bench. I want to show that one to you. It's just, to me, that's cool how that works. But it's all about voltage drop and load. It's basically it's Ohm's law and resistance. Series and parallel circuits. Basically, that's what this whole setup is a series parallel circuit on these fans. And it's pretty dang slick. And it makes perfect sense. And, you could make this little module, which might be an idea. Anyway, you can make this module to control just about any kind of fan. And it would be so simple. Man, that's got me thinking now. The wheels are turning. You see the smoke coming out of my head, out of my ears? Man, something's on fire. I got an idea. That's funny. But anyway, back to the people who check out. You know what I ought to do? Let's put it down here in the description. That's right. I think that's right too. But check out those websites. Hey, there he is. What's up, Jonathan? Burn Electrical. We got a comedian in the house. Let's see, what's the other one? Some of the conversion stuff, like I said, the guy that I talked to Friday was it was stealthconversions.com. He said they just changed the name of it to, well, he was telling me about something else, but I think it's actually Jags That Run or something like that. But that's where he got some of the information for doing the conversions, making Jaguars run, which Jaguars are kind of in a league of their own. But those are some really good companies, and I think, let me pull it up. And go check out this guy right here. That is KSR Fabrication Performance. And when you get to the main page and look that up, that car on the front is a soccer mom. And that is a good friend and a fellow technician that we work at the same dealership. A super nice guy, and that car is stupid fast. They race no time, so I can't tell you how fast the car runs, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, check him out. Check out his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel, I do believe, is just shoot. Yeah, that car is bad to the bone. I'm going to tell you. Let's see if I can find what his YouTube channel is. It's KSR Performance. KSR Performance and Fabrication is his YouTube channel. Yeah, that was before Kevin from KSR. Obviously, is KSR is Kevin Smith Racing. Basically, he and I have the same last name, hence the name Smitty. But that car, he is very smart and a hell of a good fabricator. He's also well acquainted with Cletus McFarland, so Cletus gave him a shout out in his his subscriber count went up astronomically, and now he's since he's working on mullet. Like I'm looking at one of his videos now that I haven't watched yet. It was posted a day ago, and it's almost got 100,000 views. So, but he's super smart. He's about the same age as I am. He's probably a little younger. Sure as hell looks better than me. I can tell you that. But yeah, he's really good with suspension stuff, and it's crazy how he knows what to do with what. I mean, it's just blows my mind. The guy is so smart, but dead spot off idle. I'm thinking. Got a dead spot off idle. Usually that's an accelerator pump problem, Jonathan. Usually it's either got too much fuel or not enough coming out of the jets or the booster venturi. That's usually corrected. You can change it with the cam on the side, or just the accelerator pedal a little bit, or accelerator diaphragm. And you still got a dead spot. Something else you want to look at where you're, I'm assuming you're running a distributor. If that's the case, I would look at where your vacuum advance is plugged in at, whether or not it's on a ported vacuum source, or if it's on manifold vacuum. I've had better luck having them on ported vacuum, but that's just me, and it just depends on the car. Yeah, the only thing I can think of, Jonathan, on that on a ported source like that is it's changing the timing enough. When you step on the throttle, it applies vacuum to that, and of course retards the timing. Maybe that's where it's at. I think early GMs used to use that same setup, but they had like a restrictor in there, an old diaphragm. They kind of delayed, kind of a delayed device type of deal. But that might be something to try. Try moving it to a manifold instead of a ported source, and see what you get with that. Because usually a dead spot would be something have to either do with timing, or the fuel's just not right, or it can't burn it. Woohoo! We're up to seven in the room now. Welcome to whoever just came in. That's funny. You go to my YouTube on the phone and it says, I'm live. Really? But yeah, the picture that I posted for the live session was actually of the donor before I started into it. "2005 Malibu Classic." Okay, so that's the old rounded body. Transit slippage, goes into gear rough, but does shift. But the speedometer and trip doesn't work. I changed the speed sensor. Well, I'd say I would be looking, let's see, 2005. That's going to be a 4T40 transmission then. That's a 4-speed. Transit slipping. It goes into gear rough, but does shift, but the speedometer and trip doesn't work. I'm thinking the speedometer and everything goes through the oh shoot. "2005, that should have a separate TCM for that transmission, if I'm not mistaken. So there's probably a communication bus error or something like that. I'd be looking for voltage problems or possibly a communication line down. If you can pull codes, that would be your best way. See, get some live data and see what you can see. Well, I guess it could be out of fluid. That's one of them that you have to test with the car level. And there's a fill cap on the left side, which would be the driver's side. And usually they're red. They could be black. But basically, with the transmission hot, you should have a trickle coming out of the there's a plug on the right side, right back next to the axle. There's a plug right there, and you take that plug out with the thing running, transmission hot, and you should get like a drip of fluid out of there. If you're not, then the transmission's not full enough. So yeah, I would check that and fill it. If you hear a whine kind of like a power steering pump, if you know what a power steering pump sounds like when it's dry, you'll get that same kind of sound out of a transmission pump on one of those too. It'll kind of whine and kind of howl like a power steering pump going out or dry. So that would make it shift rough. It would, I don't know that it would keep it from the speedometer from working, but you said you've already replaced the sensor. So I would be trying to get data out of it and see what you can see. That'll lead you a long ways. Interesting note about the Malibu Classic or the Malibus. You know that GM at one time did a prototype of that Malibu, that body style, they put a 3 point, well, they had the 3.4 liter in it, but they modified it and they put a 5-speed manual in it, and it was a sport version. Man, that thing was bad to the bone. It was really cool. Of course, it was just a prototype. I doubt I could even find any information on it. Let's see. I doubt I can find it. It's probably not even out there anymore. I don't remember. They came out with that car in like 97 or something like that. Let's try 1998. But it was really cool. Yeah, I don't see it. Anyway, it was cool. It was one of like the very few. Holy crap! There's a Beretta GTU convertible. That was a rare car too. Anyway. Just got a cat delete in duals on my 87 Sport Coupe 2.8 V6. Nice. Having slow shift, was told to replace torque converter, or is it trans? I doubt it's the torque converter on that one. Usually a torque converter won't cause a slow shift concern. And now you're talking about shifting in between gears, or is it a delayed shift? In other words, it's holding a gear too long. So if you can clarify that for me. But yeah, torque converter doesn't usually cause a slow shift. Jonathan, the 2010 was the newer body style. That was kind of like the squared off one. And they weren't bad cars. They didn't sell as good as the earlier ones did, I think. I liked that 97 to 2005 Malibu body style. I mean, it was really a pretty decent car. Unfortunately, you see, a lot of those kind of cars are just ragged out. But the body style that you had, Jonathan, they did have an SS for those, and that was a running dude. When they came up with that, they had I call it a ram horn manifold that they put on a 3.9 liter. And I don't know if y'all remember the supercharged 3800 that made like 230 horse, 240 horse, something like that. Well, this 3.9 liter with that ram horn on it put 245 horse out. And and it would just flat haul the mail. It was good running engine. Holding gear too long and in between reverse and drive, slow to kick in. That's more than likely a pressure issue. It's probably got low pump pressure. Being behind a V6, not uncommon. And most of those early ones anyway, just like L to the W's that I'm doing, most of the early ones weren't set up with enough pump pressure. And the V6s, of course, got much lighter components than the V8 cars. But they're fixable just like everything else. Again, y'all, I'm trying to figure out how to get this encoding software to work with this. Like I said, I'm still going to play around with it because that'll be pretty cool if I can get it to work where you can see my screen at the same time. I don't know if it'll work together. I'm not sure. I know there's guys out there that have done it. Sloppy, what's his name from Sloppy Mechanics used to do it all the time. But I was talking to Google tech support on this the other night, and they were really helpful. Literally, I mean, I'm not joking about that. And gave me some good pointers because I'm still learning this social media thing. I'm an old dog trying to teach new tricks, you know what I mean? Jonathan, I seen your deal up there. Sorry, I missed it. But yeah, sometimes carbs can be aggravating. You know, I had a guy that had a 55 Chevy, had a 427 in it, and had a carburetor, and he just never really was happy with it. He brought it by to me, and he said, "Yeah, so I don't know what to do with it." It says it just doesn't run right. And so, of course, the first thing I look at says, "Well, let's pull it out and see what jets are in it." So I pull the thing out, and it's got, I think it was like 65 jets in a big block. I was like, "How's this thing even running?" And then I found out that the power valve was blown out of it. And I said, "All right, so let's start with a power valve." And so I asked him what cam's in it and how much duration or how much vacuum it had in idle. And once I established that, got him the right power valve stuck in there. And I think I ended up going up to, I think this old big block wanted a 82 jet on the primary, which is huge. But we put that in there, and he went and drove it. He's like, "Man, I can't believe that thing runs that good." Says it's never been that nice. And it's just carburetors aren't bad, and I tell you what, I'm spoiled with fuel injection. Working on that. Now I don't like the new stuff as much. GM. Still see a lot of, fuel injector issues, and most of it has to do with the fuel. the ethanol and the fuel and that kind of stuff. Ethanol is hard on injectors, especially if it sits for a period of time. Well, Jonathan, I think your headache would be a lot less if you probably did, and the drivability would improve immensely. Doing like a sniper EFI or something like that, that's a pretty cool setup. And it's basically go right in place of the carb. G73, what's the best way to make it peel some tires on takeoff? I believe I counted 9 bolts on the rear. Well, the biggest thing is you need to find out what rear end's in that car. With a 2.8 V6, I could bet you that thing's probably got a 410 in it. Just because those 2.8s didn't make a whole lot of torque. And let's see, it's an 87 Sport Coupe. So that thing's probably carbureted, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it just depends on what you want to do. I don't know if you'll get it to peel rubber or not. The 2.8s weren't big on torque. Great engines, reliable, smooth running, but they weren't big on torque. But like I said, I would find out what rear end's in it. If you've still got your option label on your console, you can look at your G codes, and like if you got one that's says GT4, that would be a 373. If it says GT5, that would be a 410. GU6 would be a 342. GU4? GU5 or GU4 would be a 323. GU2 is a 273. But yeah, I would look at your axle ratio. If you got some room to work with. I don't know if I'd go much above a 410 in a factory one. Yeah, Jonathan, I think every one of the F bodies that I've ever gotten, of course, they're all automatics. Every one of them's got 273s in it. But I don't know what the donor's got in it, because it's got the Australian 9-bolt in it, disc brake rear end. So it's either going to be 277 or 327. But my guess, it's probably going to be 277, being as it was an automatic car. But yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I picked up that rear end from a buddy of mine that had the Willwoods on it. And he said he had the cover off of it. It was a 308 Posse. And I'm pretty much dead set on, I've had 342s and other cars, other these third gens, and that's just like the ideal rear end for those cars. And so, yeah, I plan on doing a gear change on it too, probably before I stick it in there. What gear set did you buy, Jonathan? Who was the manufacturer? Did you buy Richmond? Because if you did, I was going to tell you Richmond makes two or three different versions. And one of them will make noise. Um, the original manufacturer for GM currently is American Axle Manufacturing, and so usually their gear sets are inherently quiet. Oh, good Lord. Are you making a race car out of it? If you put a mini spool in, it'd almost have to be. Funny story. I had an 87 GMC, same kind of deal. It had 273s in it with a 700, and the thing would almost idle going down the highway. It was funny. And I went from 273s to 373s in that truck, and I put a Richmond gear in it, and it made noise from day one. But then I found out that I bought like their race set, which they're supposed to be almost indestructible. And yeah, because I mean the gear tooth pattern on it was perfect. You couldn't have asked for it to be any better. But then I put a Power Tracks locker in it, which I don't know if any of you can't talk. If anyone has ever had one of those Power Tracks lockers and driven it on the street, it takes some getting used to for driving a Power Tracks, because it's a ratcheting locker. And if you're going around the corner and you stomp on the gas pedal, it's not going to throw the butt sideways. It's going to try to push you forward. And so, yeah, it took some getting used to. But, man, that thing was awesome in the snow. I put a couple parking curbs in the parking bumpers, I guess you'd say, in the back of my truck one winter when I had it. Had some snow tires in the back, just some regular radials on the front. I never got stuck in that truck. That thing would just flat go. I mean, that was the coolest thing I ever did. But just listen to that ratcheting when you're going around corners. People think your rear end's going to fall out of the vehicle. It's funny. I had so many people stop me and say, "Man, there's something wrong with your rear end." I said, "No, it's not. It's all right." 150 shot. Whew. Some laughing gas. You could be like everybody else, Jonathan. Put a turb ski on it or something. The guy at when I was talking to the guy at Holly Friday, he goes, "What are you planning on doing with this car? You might want to think about putting something a little stronger in it." It says, "It's just a street car. I'm not going all out." And the old 350s, they used to use them for years before they come out with the LS, and it still works. Parts are reasonable enough for it. So, but yeah, the aftermarket is blowing up for parts for an LS. And, finding one out of a salvage yard is next to impossible. And if you do find one, they want an arm and a leg for it. I almost think it'd be cheaper to go to like Copart or something like that and buy a wrecked one or something and take it home and take off what you need and then just sell the rest of it. At least you know that you'd get, all the wiring without being cut, providing it was not cut in a wreck or anything. Yeah, Jonathan, I'm like you. I've got it's not really an LS, but I've got basically LS controls. I've got that 02 3/4 ton, and it's got an 8100 in it, which is built a lot like the bottom end is built like the old Mark series big blocks. But the upper end of the engine is built more like an LS. The heads are cathedral port. The intake is aluminum, but it's coil on plug. It's been updated. The block is updated. Nothing interchanges with the old Mark 7 block. I mean, it's its own breed. It's got a crank sensor that goes, I kid you not, that crank sensor is probably that long. I know that's kind of deceiving on camera, and it goes right behind the driver's cylinder head on the back of the engine, right by the bell housing. Just fantastic place to put one of those. And it does have a cam sensor. Had to replace that crank sensor once, but it's basically LS controls, but I'm one of the lucky ones to get that Allison in mine, and I love that Allison. That thing is just great for pulling. And it runs smooth. So yeah, I like my old stuff. Anymore, I'd like to just drive the old stuff than to try to play with the new, as long as I can still get parts for it. Yeah, they are about indestructible. Yeah, this one's been good to me. I haven't done much to it. I did a pump update for a torque converter bleed down when it was still pretty low miles. Haven't done much to it except for change the fluid and the filters on a regular basis, and I tow everything. What's happening, man? But yeah, it's kind of why I want to do Scarlet too. I want to make that. I'd like to be able to do that for a daily driver. Still have the comforts. I don't need much. As long as it's got air conditioning and power windows, I'm good. Something to have fun with. I never thought this YouTube thing would even amount to anything either. And you guys have shown that you enjoy it and you've been supporting. And I got you guys to thank for that. I just still growing. Never thought I'd get to where I'm at. I'm just tickled to death. It is time consuming though. Holy shnikes, is it time consuming. But and the best thing about it is when I get somebody that responds, says, "Man, I've learned so much from you." I says, "I sure appreciate it," and that just makes you feel good. Yeah, I'm the same way. I says, I gotta have air, especially down here, because it gets so blooming hot. Well, humid more than anything. In fact, I got 2 vehicles now that I've got to do AC work on. Oh, I appreciate that. But yeah, my wife's been driving her little Toyota pickup. She has a 91 Toyota 4-wheel drive pickup Thing's a beautiful truck. It really is. I really wish I had a shop to do a frame off for, because I mean, the body's in really good shape, but the frame is starting to rust pretty good. The way they've got their frames built, but I'd love to be able to do a frame off. I need to do a frame off on my old pickup also. Because I don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon. I'll keep driving it as long as she'll keep going for me. But yeah, her air, she's still got R12 in her little Toyota pickup, and she says, yeah, it's not blowing cold, and it's the original system from 91. I mean, what, you can't ask for much more than that. It's 30 years old, I found somebody that down here that still had some R12, and I need to find my gauges. I may have to buy another set off of Amazon or something like that, because I may have sold my R12 gauges. I think I had 2 sets at one time. And I don't want to convert hers, because everything else works on it. It's just a little low, and the only reason why it's low is because it sat for so long that I'm sure one of the seals is a little dry. So it'll probably only take maybe a can, but I got 2 just in case, because the compressor still kicks on, so it's not too extremely low. I don't know. I'm going to try to get, I've got 2 videos done. I'm working on a third right now, but you came in kind of late, but this last week I've been sick, and it came on Sunday. It came on Sunday and knocked me out Monday. I stayed home Monday, and I don't miss work very much, but Tuesday I felt human enough to go back to work, so I did. So that's why that 480 video popped in there. Because I already had that one uploaded and ready to go, so just in case something would happen, and it did, so it worked out. So hopefully I'll have one tomorrow, but I may not be able to make it by noon. Just depends. I guess if I stayed up tonight and did it, I could do that, but that'll throw off tomorrow. They don't make R12 anymore, but you can still find it a few places. I found mine actually through Marketplace, and this guy had like 6 or 8 cans of it. And they were all in good shape. So I just got 2 of them, which should be plenty for her truck. It's just a little bitty truck. But anyway, so hers has been acting up. And then she called me Wednesday. She goes, you need to stop by on your way home and check out the Escape. This is, it's making a heck of a racket. This is, when I got to the parking spot, it stalled. I was like, okay. She goes, well, it started right back up, but it's still making a noise. I says, well, get in there and shut the air off and tell me if it still makes the same noise. She goes, no, it doesn't. I said, all right, the compressor probably took a dump. Problem is the original compressor on that Escape lasted to 230,000 miles. And I've got 277 on it now, and this will be the 4th AC compressor I put on this thing. They're aftermarket compressors. Man, they just don't hold up. So anyway, I got to get a compressor, but things were a little tight right now, so it'll have to wait maybe till next month. I'll probably start driving it because I don't need the air right now. I can do without it. It's what the windows go down for. Yeah, like I said, Jonathan, I found this guy on Marketplace that had these. I couldn't believe it. He was pretty close to me too. So I went after it, and I think it was 20. I think I paid $20 a can. Yeah, I thought it was too. It's either 20 or $30 a can, but even that, it's not that bad. No, take that back. It was $25 a can because I had $60, and I tried to see if he would give me three for 60. He's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Says, all right, so just give me the 2 cans, and we're good to go. So yeah, I couldn't believe I found it anyway, because the R12 works so much better, especially on her little truck. That little truck, man, that thing will freeze you out of the cab. That's one thing that Toyota Bailey. Good Lord. That being the little cab in that thing will just freeze you out. I think they actually make a 134 condenser for the third gens. I haven't checked into it too close, but I thought at one time they did. Because the passages are different. Either that, or you can maybe adapt a 4th gen condenser in there. Not sure. But then you got to make sure that you get the right amount of refrigerant charge, because I think somebody will have to correct me, but I think the 4th gens used a different compressor. I think they used a HR6 versus the old R4s that that the 3rd gens had. But I do know that there's a company out there that you can get a Sandon replacement instead of the old Frigidaire R4. Yeah. I mean, it'll work. It's just not as efficient. Anything new coming up? Yeah, I got a video that I was just talking about it earlier. There's a video I want to show you that's pretty slick, and how you guys could wire up a 2-speed fan motor just by doing an electrical circuit. It's pretty neat. And I'm actually going to do it. I'll do one on the bench with a couple of light bulbs, and it'll serve the same purpose. But it's pretty slick, and anybody could do this. So, because like I said, a lot of times you go around, you don't always need fans going on high all the time. And when you get your air on, you definitely don't need it on high all the time, unless there's enough heat in the engine that you need to get it out. But you can do 2 speeds with the fan technology getting better. They'll move more air, and you can move more air at a lower speed, less draw on the electrical system and everything else. But right now, just like I said, trying to get LTW's transmission finished up so I can get it back to him. Videos are still rolling on that. So, in fact, I'm going to have to go shut up the shop. I don't know that I'm going to do anything more tonight. It's already 10 o'clock. So, wow. You've had me gabbing for 2 hours tonight, guys. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I enjoy it. Like I said, this is all for you guys anyway. Right? I'd agree, Stephen. But I think I might actually, I think I'm going to call it here for tonight. I've enjoyed your all's questions and comments and everything else, and keep it real. Y'all need to make sure to. I appreciate that, Jonathan. Steven, hope to see y'all next week. Make sure to tune in next week if you're here. I'll try to just make this a regular Saturday thing. Same channel and same time. What's new for the L2W trans? Just finishing up. Let's see if where I left off with the videos. Got putting a lower case together, setting the in play. Put the upper case together, putting the clutches in for the final time. Pump modifications coming up. I'm probably going to dedicate a whole video just to the pump modifications because there's a lot involved in that, and it'll probably be pretty long anyway. So, yeah, like I said, I'm really thinking I want to go manual brakes on mine too. So, like I said, I sure appreciate y'all stopping in. Appreciate y'all as subscribers. Please make sure and take care of yourself. Make sure you stay healthy. Eat right. I'm not one to say much about that because I don't do enough of it. But take care of yourself. God bless y'all, and God bless America, and we'll see you next week. Stay tuned for the videos. Make sure you're there. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna end it. So, y'all have a good night.